Mode.
Hey, everybody. It's Tom Foster here at Foster Wood Marketing with Danielle Ruderman, who just moved her lunch out of the way so we could have this webinar. That's what that ruffling was. And we have lovely Gretchen up right here, Zach Stone.
Hi, everybody.
And Connie Gray. And welcome, everybody, to the webinar. Today we're talking about offers and landing pages that convert, and I do compliment you, Danielle, on this particular font that you chose.
Well, thank you. I can be very creative in PowerPoint.
That's right. So, well, let's get started. And we got Hannah that's going to be tweeting some stuff about the webinar out there. So, Hannah, thanks for doing that. And Zach will be taking the questions in. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and fill out the little widget thing there on the right side of the GoToWebinar tool bar, and we'll get to your questions. We'll always save time at the end for some questions, and we'll get to it. Okay, so let's get started. So Danielle, this is an exciting webinar.
Oh, it is so exciting.
What are we going to learn today?
What are you going to learn today? Why have you joined us on this webinar? Well, first of all, we're going to show you that we're going to use our data to show you that free offers really do work. We're also going to show you the common elements of successful offers. So we have data on quite a few websites, and we can see across about 400 websites which offers are converting and bringing in contacts to the sites, and we've analyzed this information to give you a summary of what actually works. We're going to actually show you the titles of the offers, the top converting offers across all our sites for about a year's time period. So this is great information. You can see which ones are most successful. We're also going to go through in great detail all the elements of a successful offer landing page and show you examples so you'll be able to put this all together and create or improve your own landing pages. And finally, we want to really instill in you that you need to always be testing whether or not your offers are working, testing whether or not your forms are working, so things like that. All right, let's go.
And then testing, obviously, headlines, images, and all that stuff. So why do we bother doing it? Why are we doing this?
Right, so why do you have an offer on your website? Why do you have a landing page? Well, what you're trying to do is get people to give you their contact information, an email, a physical address, so that you can get their information into your contact database. This is going to allow you to market to them, and if you do your marketing right, it's going to allow you to build trust with these prospects. These folks have already raised their hands, they've already given you their information and said that they're interested in you. Now all you need to do is win their trust and wait for them to be ready to reach back out to you. And keep in mind, right, Tom, people buy from those they trust. This is a people business.
That's right. And so how do we know what we're talking about?
Well, we have a lot of data. As we said, we have nearly 400 websites, and we pulled data on all the contacts that were filled out. So we know which forms were filled out on which pages, which offers they were on, and we have data on over 80,000 contacts. So this is some really good information here. And these are all from attorney and doctor websites. They're really relevant to what you do. It's not like some other studies you might read about landing pages that are more for product offers or e-commerce or things like this. This is actually offers on attorney and doctor websites. And
so what we get a lot of times when we first start talking to attorneys and doctors that first get involved with us, they don't really understand why do an offer or why do a free report or why give anything for free. You know, a lot of them just come to us and their call to action is a free consultation or just a contact form. So this is what is this that we're looking at here, Daniel?
So this is a chart that breaks down, of those over 80,000 contacts that we got in about a year's period to all of our sites, this is a breakdown of how they contacted the law firm or the doctor office. And you can see that the biggest piece of pie here over there on the left, the offer downloads, that's about 35% of all the contacts to our websites were for an offer. And why is that? Because those of you who have something free available on your website, people want that. They want that free offer, and they're willing to give you their information in exchange for something. So that's why we're focusing today on these free offers. Like we said, 35% of all contacts, and that's a pretty big number, so you don't want to ignore this.
No, I mean, and think about that. That's a way that you could increase contacts to your firm or your practice by 35%, which you don't have now. So if you don't have an offer now, doing something the way that we're going to tell you to do it, this could happen. for you too.
This is also for those of you who already have one or more offers on your website. We want you to take a very critical look at what you're doing right now and see if you can make some changes based on the advice we're going to give you today.
So let's talk about different kinds of offers that you can do.
All right. So when we took a look at the top offers in our database, these were some of the common themes that we found. So when you're thinking about, gosh, what should I put on my website, or how can I enhance what I already have, be thinking about these keywords and these key tactics. So the first thing we have, of course, is free. You want to make it very clear to anybody who's coming from the search engine results page, or from your ad, wherever they're coming from, when they hit the landing page, this is free. They don't have to give you any money. All they have to do is give you their contact information.
People like free stuff, right, Danielle?
People love free stuff.
If it's free,
If it's free, it's for me. That's right. Channeling my dad, the Colonel. The other thing, a great word that you can use that we saw quite often in the top offers was the word secrets. People like naughty secrets. They want to know what you know that they don't. That's right, insider knowledge, says Gretchen. That's perfect. We also found that bumper stickers do very well, and you can do this. We see personal injury attorneys do this a lot, so it's don't text and drive, watch out for pedestrians, watch out for motorcycles. So if you have a particular injury niche, you can probably create a bumper sticker around that. And what you want to do is you have the text on the bumper sticker, but you also have your branding on there as well, so people know who you are and you're sharing the information. And a little tip we'll give you is some of our clients who use bumper stickers, they do a Facebook campaign, and they say, hey, take a picture of your bumper sticker if you've driven somewhere cool or fun, and we'll post it on our Facebook page. So they make it fun and social and interactive, and then people are excited to get engaged. They want to take their picture when they're up in Alaska or whatever and send it to you.
And just think about all those people in all those faraway lands that are now learning about you because of that bumper sticker. So they're getting to know your name brand, even though they're not even in your market.
The other popular phrase was biggest mistakes. So you can do, we have our most popular book for years and years, Tom. When did you first write our 5 Biggest Mistakes book?
I don't even remember.
1908? It was a long time ago.
Yes.
So this is actually our most downloaded book, and all it is the 5 biggest mistakes that 99% of attorneys make with their websites.
It's 12 pages and big giant font.
Yep, easy. So you can do the same thing. The 7 biggest mistakes you can make with your Social Security disability claim. The 5 biggest mistakes in your how to ruin your accident case in 5 steps, things like that. And so that brings us to the next point, lists. And again, using numbers, 5, 7, 11. It's odd numbers, right, Gretchen, that stand out?
Yep, odd numbers stick in people's brains, especially after David Letterman did top 10 list, because now all of a sudden you're doing 11. Ooh,
right.
What's that bonus 11?
We also found that gender-focused offers did very well. This works really well in the divorce world. So you can have women-centric books or men-centric books, and you can probably find a way to make this work for any kind of practice. Certainly a medical practice, this would work really well. And it may seem like extra effort to you to create a gender-niched book, but this is a great way for people to think that there's an offer specifically tailored for them. That's why you want to do it. You're really kind of getting into the psychology. It's not just a generic book about divorce or about Social Security disability. It's now about me. It's more personal to me. And this goes along with the next point about niching the books. We have an example in a slide a little later on about cable TV repairmen and wage and hour cases, and it's a landing page specifically for cable operators. And that's a very specific offer, and if the right person hits that page and it's written exactly to them, they're going to be more likely to convert than if it was a generic offer for anybody. So really think about having multiple offers on your site that are really niched to a profession or a gender or military, things like that. We have also found, surprisingly, that coloring books do very well, and this is something we have found doctors are doing. But you could also apply it. We tossed around some ideas. An immigration attorney, if you're trying to get a family into the United States, this might be a nice way to reach out to the kids. If you're talking about custody and divorce law, a nice coloring book might be helpful.
Coloring books work, man.
Yeah. We have several in our
You're
top.
not too cool to make a coloring book. As an attorney, you could do a personal injury attorney. I think Ben's got one.
Safety, kid safety.
Yep.
Right.
Helmets, like make sure, a bike safety book. Coloring books work, man, and it's an easy thing for parents to get for their kids, and now that they're in your database. The other thing I'll just say is, don't think that you've got to write War and Peace and it needs to be like all of your legal knowledge in one book. It does not need to be 100 pages long. You don't want it to be that big. You want it to be something that somebody's going to actually read. So, what do we recommend? Like 15 to 30 pages is a good average.
I would say anywhere from, depending on what you're doing, 5 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to keep it simple, you can do a pamphlet or a white paper,
Yes.
a report, all the way on up to a book. So I think people get intimidated when they hear free offer, a book or something like that. It does not have to be huge. It just needs to be something, some good information, like Tom said, a good font, some engaging pictures, and your contact information.
And keep in mind, these people are looking for more information about their case. They're not looking to solve their case. So you're going to do that for them. You're just trying to provide them more information so they have a better idea of what they're going to need moving forward.
And you're trying to convince them that you're the person for them to hire. You're the person they want to go to because you obviously know what you're talking about.
And if you have a book and your competition doesn't, who's going to get that lead? I mean, they might still contact the competition, but they're going to get your offer, and you're going to start to build that rapport with them, and they're going to be on your marketing list that you will continue to market to. Most of your competitors probably don't have anything this sophisticated and are just like doing things the old-fashioned way. That's what we find. So this is a very effective way to market yourself.
And I want to say one more thing about some of these offers, whether it's a book or a coloring book or a pamphlet, you can do all of this online. So if you're uneasy about investing too much money in this, create a PDF and have it on your website, and people can do a free download. All you need is an email address. If this works well for you, you can consider printing these items and mailing them to your prospects. And you can also put a disclaimer on your page saying you'll only mail to people in your geographic area, so you're not mailing things to Botswana or Africa or wherever the contact comes from. So you can just make sure that's local. So consider doing both the PDF and the physical copy and seeing which one works better for you.
Most of that's your niche.
That's
Botswana
true.
or Africa.
That's true.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about one of the most important things, which is the titles. And what are these? These are some of the top converting offers that we have.
Right. So when we ran the report and sorted by the number of contacts, these were some of the top titles that we have. This is just to give you an idea of offers that are actually out there on sites working. And keep in mind, it's not the title alone that's making these successful. Many of the law firms and doctors' offices behind these offers are marketing them. You know, they're doing community awareness campaigns. They're including this in their email blasts. So they're driving people to these pages. But we want to include them here because once people get to the page, they're converting at higher levels than any of the other offers on all the sites. So you can see we've got motorcycle awareness. This is an offer for a Watch for Motorcycle sticker. If you take these types of cases or you're an advocate for motorcycle safety, this is a great one, very popular. Get out of debt. And I love the second part of this title, important secrets to know before you hire an attorney or sign papers. I would want to read that because I want to know those secrets before I do anything.
Well, you know what? Most people don't really want to talk to an attorney right off the bat. You know, you think that they're, oh, well, I have free consultation and a contact form on my site and a phone number, and you're wondering why people aren't just like tearing it up. So this is, you know, what we were talking about before, some good buzzwords to get you to get people to contact you. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to build a relationship with you yet for you to start talking to them.
And starting to earn their trust.
Right.
So before you hire an attorney, we've even seen some attorneys put on their landing page that before you even hire me, read this. You know, go do your homework. So that really helps you build your trust, right? The other thing we've seen is we had a number of auto accident kits with a cell charger or just a basic accident injury kit on the website. Now this does require you to invest some money in it, but again, if you limit it and only send it to people in your target area, this would be a great way to get contacts. This is actually something physical that's free, and you can brand the cell charger with your firm logo and firm name and contact information. And again, it's just a way to keep your brand in front of people's mind, especially when they're in their car if you're an auto accident attorney.
And just real quick, if you want to get an auto accident kit made, that's Michael Passoff that does those up in San Francisco. Great guy to work with. So that's the guy you want to go to, Michael Passoff.
And we can put that on the landing page.
We'll send that out to everybody.
Of course, we already mentioned the coloring books. We had a couple pediatric coloring books that did really well. Any kind of kids coloring book would be good. Then you've got the How to Get Divorced book, and this is in here. I like this one because it's, again, specifically to women, and it says no cost, another way to say free. And then right behind it, number 6, the free custody book. I like the Women's Custody Survival Guide. I like that word survival, especially in this context. Then you've got number 7 here, Don't Panic, Win Your Virginia Disability Claim. Your VA, sorry.
We are in Virginia.
We're in Virginia. Forgive me. And then you have 6 reasons why game-based learning might not be the next big thing in your talent development strategy. We have a couple oddball websites out there that don't fall under attorney or doctor. I like this title again because it's 6 reasons, like we were saying, odd numbers, but you can really do any different number. So it's just another example of something you can do.
Okay, so let's talk about what makes an offer.
All right, so there are going to be a lot of slides here covering what you need to put together an offer. Of course, the first thing you need is something that you feel you can convince people that they want or they need. So pick something that you can get behind, whether it's that coloring book, a book about 7 mistakes, a bumper sticker, a checklist, whatever. Come up with something that you could really feel that you can sell that your perfect client would be interested in. All right, so the next thing you want to think about, how are people going to find your offer? You want to make sure that you have a catchy page title and meta description. Why? Because these are the 2 things that appear on the search engine result pages, that page title and meta description. So you want to make sure they are compelling and getting people's attention. You're kind of out there waving your hands trying to get them to notice you in the search results. So make sure you're using page titles and descriptions that will get their attention. Now I gave a couple examples here, and I want to point out on the first one is I would like it if the word free were to appear in there. So it says download what every Virginia woman needs to know about divorce. So I know it's download, so it's easy to get, but I'd love to see the word free in there to entice people to come on the page because they don't have to pay anything. And then the second example here with the lawyer marketing book, free sample chapter. This is another thing that you can think about doing if you have a book, especially if you have a print book that you really want people to give you their address. You can offer a sample chapter, which is a PDF form, just for an email address. And this is a good thing to test to see if you can get more contact information just by asking for an email and giving a PDF. And then if they want to give you additional information, like their full address, then you can send them the actual physical book. And what do we call that, Gretchen?
Second chance form.
The second chance form. And our DSS system is set up to do that for you if you want to try that out.
I have one thing to add to that. With meta descriptions in the search engine result pages, Google doesn't like it when you artificially try to draw eyes to your search result. So don't capitalize just to capitalize. It should make sense when you're capitalizing certain words or descriptions, but don't capitalize every letter in download, every letter in free, and every letter in book, because Google's just not going to serve that in search results, or if they do, they're probably going to remove it by adding content from within the page and not actually use that meta description, so you won't know what's getting pulled into that search engine result page. Something to keep in mind.
And of course, we're seeing more and more that Google is choosing to make up its own page titles or its own meta description based on the text on your page. So don't be surprised if you spend all this time crafting the perfect page title and description and they go and use something completely different.
Yeah, it actually looks like Ben's, that second one is actually taken from within the content and actually isn't using the meta description, which that just might be because Google felt like that was a more appropriate description of what was on that page than the meta description for that particular query. It's not something that's wrong, but you just know that that could happen. And you do want to monitor that to know exactly what people are seeing when they're finding your free offers within search engine result pages.
Yeah, go and search for your offer, every month or so and see how things are changing. Just keep an eye on because Google's always testing. They're always making changes. All right, next we're going to talk about if you're going to create an offer, of course, you need the actual landing page on your website. So we have here an example of a great infographic, and we've got the link down here. It's from QuickSprout. And so once you get this webinar, you can go look at the entire infographic. But this is a really good summary of some of the things we're going to talk about that you need on your landing page. And you can see up at the top, there's a very simple nav bar, because you don't want to trap people on the page, but you also don't want to have a large nav bar that's going to get in the way. Then, of course, you need your eye-catching headline. You need a couple bullet points or a summary about the offer. You want a button or some way that they know to click there to get the offer. You can possibly have a video, a testimonial, a product description, some trust logos, maybe your Better Business Bureau logo, or if you were in the media talking about this, some media badges. And you want it all to fit nicely on the screen. So these are some of the elements we're going to cover next. But this is a really neat infographic. I think they did a great job, so you should definitely go check them out. And be mindful of all the pop-up ads. And don't ask us to do that on your website. No pop-up ads.
Exactly.
All right.
All right.
So next, what do we have next?
Well, this is the headline, which is
Yep.
the most important thing once you get somebody to the page.
So you've gotten them to the page. Now remember, we said that when you were writing your page title and your meta description, you're out there waving your arms trying to get everybody's attention. You're trying to get them to click on your link. But now you have them. They're actually on your page, so you don't need to sell them. What you need to do is clearly describe what you want them to do on this page. And that's why I picked these specific examples. So the first one here, you're on this page to get your free bumper sticker. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to give you some information to get my free bumper sticker.
Because a confused buyer does not buy. So you want to be very clear.
Right. You don't need a ton of words in your headlines. They're there. They're your captive audience. I like this next one because it says Accident Assistance Guide. Keep this in your glove box. Oh, you're telling me what to do with it. I like that. Okay, nice and clear. And then the last one, it's got a little bit of the scare tactic, but it's appropriate for the, don't lose your children. Read our free custody guide. If I'm in that situation, I know that I'm here to get this free custody guide. All right, so what's the next element that makes an offer? You want to have the actual copy. So you've got your headline. Now you've got the copy that's going to describe what they're going to get. And please, don't write War and Peace. Right, Tom? We don't want to see you paste your entire offer into the landing page, which we have seen some of you do. We don't want you summarizing the entire thing like it's a book report. You just need to keep it short and sweet. And think about this from the visitor's perspective. You want to think about why would somebody out there want this. You want to talk about the features, the benefits, and the pain points. Are you going to lose your child? Are you going to lose your job because you got a DUI? What are the pain points people have?
Well, think about what people ask you and what they talk to you about when they come into your office. That's what you want here. And you need to look at it yourself. We have so many people that put these landing pages up that they've never really looked at them. Are they compelling to you? I mean, everybody is out on the internet, on shopping carts and looking at landing pages that are of interest to you if you're looking for a product or a service or something. What do you see on those pages that are compelling to you that makes you order whatever? And take that back to your own site. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and you just need to be very creative. You need to be different. You need to be exciting and new.
And I really want to make the point down here in the asterisk that don't assume that you know why people would want to download your book or order your offer. Just ask them. We have even had this experience ourselves here at Foster when we were marketing our new CRM module for our DSS software. We assumed that we knew best what features people would like because we knew how awesome it was, right? We know everything. But guess what? When our sales folks and our customer service folks started talking to the actual potential clients about why they were interested, their questions, their concerns, their pain points were different from what we assumed. So remember that you are inside your law firm or your doctor's office. You know what you're talking about. You're not on the outside looking in. It's a very different perspective. So make sure that your intake folks are talking to these potential clients or patients, and they're kind of getting to know them and understanding their fears and their concerns, and you can build that into your marketing.
Danielle brought up this point before, and I just want to bring it up again because it is extremely important from what I see from going to offers and seeing click-through rates and download conversions. You do not want to write a whole War and Peace content on that page because they're going to think that that's the offer, and then they're not going to download it. I see this all the time. User experience is so key in this, and you don't want to give away everything on that page because the users could be confused, and they might not know that they even need to download it. They might just think that's the offer. So please keep that in mind. Bullets are a great way to get key ideas out there, and then you just want to summarize. You don't want to put everything there on one page because they're going to think that that's the offer, and then you're not going to get that contact information that you're looking for in the first place.
That's a great point, Zach. And here's an example of a very tight, short offer page. But we've seen that before. We've seen clients, our own clients, when they've created an offer in DSS, they actually upload the entire thing on the landing page instead of having someone fill out a form first to actually get the PDF of the offer. So make sure that you're doing it the right way. If you don't know what you're doing, ask for help.
Yeah, remember,
and then have somebody look at it afterwards. We're here to help you.
You're teasing them. You're enticing them. You're not giving them the information right away. So we picked this example here because it's for a DUI book, and you can see that here we are hitting pain points. Here's some of the horrible, awful things that could happen to you after a DUI. So if you read this, this might kind of raise your blood pressure and alarm you. Oh my gosh, I need to find out how to make sure these things don't happen. This is a good example of hitting those pain points, using the bullets, some bold text. So good example here.
Right. Yeah, because instantly your eyes go to jail, and you're like, oh,
lose your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, none of those things is what I want to happen to me. So yeah, ask your friends and family to look at it. See if they would be willing to read it. Because you also have to understand that on the web, people only want small chunks of information. They're not going to read even 2, 3, 4 paragraphs of information. Hit the bullet points, what you're going to be, questions you're going to be answering in the book, so that people are like, oh, I need to know those answers.
Now, this particular page works very well, and this is Bob Battle.
Right.
And, I mean, this has not changed in who knows how many years. I mean, this is like probably 7 years, something. Anyway, Bob Battle's a killer with this, and he has the top questions or the top concerns right here bolded. Go to jail. Permanent criminal record. These are the questions that people ask. Lose your job, security clearance, and or commercial clients. He's got security clearance in there. Why? Because we're in D.C., and people are worried about their security clearances. That's just a different thing. And he has a lot of clients that are worried about that. He's in Richmond. There's a lot of military driving up and down, congressmen, senators, aides, all that people don't want it to get out. So he's poking at that. And then, of course, the insurance nightmare. But just to Zach's point, it's quick, and he's in and out, and then finally the consumer guide will tell you all this in more detail that you need to know. So that is the bait that gets them to go to the next step. And here's another example. This is what you were talking about before.
Right, this is the one
very
that
niche.
Yep, this is an example of a very niched offer page. Again, it's for the wage and hours, overtime, and it's directed towards cable installers. So if you find that you have certain demographics coming to your website that you serve that you could hit in your community, create a page specific to them, and then hit their pain points. So if you're a cable installer, these bullets here talk about some of the issues that you might experience. Again, you just want to make it very specific.
And once again, these are the questions that people ask that they know about. I mean, I love that. Very simple, bulleted, so people can see it real quick. Less is more in this case. So would you guys agree that you should start with just a little bit and then add to it as you test?
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, and you're going to find that sweet spot where, okay, maybe I converted more by adding these 2 other bullet points, and then I go and add, all right, well, now I'm doing good, and then I add 3 more bullet points, and then it's not as good, so then tone it back. That's the point of testing.
Right, and always be talking to your potential clients and the people who come in. You know, if you're working with cable installers, confirm that these are still their fears. And if you find out that things have changed or there's additional issues you weren't aware of, make sure you add them here. So always be working on your offer and always be confirming your assumptions about what really matters to your perfect client.
Also, the use of the call to action words, so order our free report to learn your rights, that is extremely important. I see a lot of people who just say, contact us for your free report. And that doesn't imply that they're going to immediately get it. Download, order, those are the types of words that you want to use.
Fill out the form to get the free report immediately.
Right. Yeah, we will send it to you.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with Zach. Order, I don't like. Order implies money,
yeah,
and that, request, instant download.
Yeah.
To Danielle's point in a couple of slides ago, explain exactly what they can expect is going to happen, that they're going to get the download, it's going to be mailed to them. What's going to happen? Both maybe is even going to happen, so that way they are aware of what's happening.
Yeah, if you're doing a bumper sticker, fill out the form and we will mail you your bumper sticker. Oh, okay. I mean, it sounds silly,
Hold
but
their hand.
Yeah, hold their hand, explain exactly what they need to do.
Okay. What makes an offer? What is this part of it? This is one of my pet peeves.
Images. So yes, this is we picked a couple examples of some really nice, clear images. Don't use just a stock photography image or anything like that. And the reason we like these images is because they are made for the web. If you have a book and perhaps you printed it, don't think you have to use the print cover online. You are catering to people on a website. They might be on a phone or a tablet or a big giant screen, and you want them to be able to read the title and understand what they're getting just by looking at that image.
We see a lot of covers with the attorney's picture on it, which I'm not a big fan of, unless you've been on, unless you're a superstar, or if you're Brad Pitt or something like that, okay, use your image. But if no one knows you, putting your mug on there isn't going to help anything. But if you look at these titles, like The Shocking Truth About Reckless Driving, Speeding in Virginia, it's giant. You can see it from a distance. And the image on there is representative of what's going on. I like the other one, too, that's by Chris Davis, The Little Kids, Big Accidents. with a little subtitle there. And then here's an example of Jim Dotson's bumper sticker, which is also his call to action, the image that's being used on his website. Looks like a bumper sticker because it is. And don't, just don't create an image. Like another thing, if you're a personal injury lawyer for auto accidents, don't create a picture of a wrecked car and, and like have the title be small and the wrecked car image be big. People don't really want to be reminded of what they went through. They want to be told about what is in the future. And so, think about that. Have other people look at it. Don't just, you're putting a lot of effort into this. Don't just stick something up there and roll. You want to have other people look at it. And once again, we're happy to look at stuff for you guys. All right, so here's some more. This is really important, and this is something that we don't see very often. This can make or break you.
Right. You want to have so-called trust signals on your offer page. Remember that people, it's just kind of psychology. People might be hesitant to download your offer, give over their information, but if you can nudge them along with some social signals, say with some testimonials, they can see that other people really liked working with you or other people found this offer useful. If somebody has blazed the trail before them and they can feel a little more comfortable, you're going to have a better conversion rate. So we just gave some examples of testimonials here. And you can create, we have one with an image, which works really well. So try to include some testimonials, even if it's just one, talking about how helpful and awesome this offer is.
Yeah, video testimonials are number one. Written testimonials with a picture and image of the person giving the testimonial is number two, and then number three is just the written testimonial. But, all three of those are better than no testimonial, so just make sure that you get some up there. And you don't need to have a zillion. You just need to have a few.
And again, we had some additional trust elements. Again, you're trying to convince people that you know what you're talking about. So on the far right, you can see the media badges for Bob Battle, and it says he's the author of the book. So it says about the author. Bob has been featured and profiled in these places. That really gives some credibility having those logos there. And we have the same thing for Murphy Law Firm. They've got a number of logos as well. And again, just trust. If these media outlets trust this guy, well, gee, I should read his offer too. Then I like this example here. This is another trust element, the reviews with the 5 stars. And this is Chris Davis out in Seattle. They've kind of done a mock-up that looks like an Amazon landing page. And you can see it's got a couple interesting things here. First of all, it's a familiar format because it looks like Amazon. Secondly, they've got the review stars. Ooh, 5 stars. Where does that come from? Yeah. And it has a price. And it has a price that they've crossed out, and it just says free, free, free. So it's got a couple things to really catch your eye.
And
there.
I think that's really clever. The shipping is free, the handling is free, and, well, because it's a download. But it drives home to people. It's free. So, yeah, the stars I have a little bit of an issue with because I expect people to click on them and see something. You can on the landing pages. But.
So one thing I want to point out here is for Chris Davis, he's mentioning that specific to Washington. You will find that sometimes when you have these offers, if it's enticing enough, someone's going to find it and then submit it to free stuff websites. Those websites will blow up your contact list with people looking to download free stickers, reports, whatever it might be. Be specific about what area you serve because they'll apply that information to that free stuff website and you'll get less garbage contacts and more people who are actually within your market.
That's a really good point. Especially, we find this especially with the bumper stickers, and some of our clients who do bumper stickers have a disclaimer saying, due to overwhelming demand, we will only ship to those in the following states, and then they'll list them. And that gets you off the hook for having to fill the orders for anybody who just comes from.
And it also then increases the value to those prospective clients that due to overwhelming demand, oh my goodness, this is really popular. I need this too. And I live in this, I'm special. I live in a special place.
It's exclusive.
It is.
Okay. Now this is what we were talking about earlier, is what kind of text do you use? And this is specific to button text. What are some of those?
So make sure when you're looking at your landing page that you have a clear call to action. We were actually doing a little marketing consulting with a client late last week, and I was looking at their landing page, and I couldn't figure out how to get the offer. You know why? Because the button that you used to submit and request more information was the exact same color as all the other design elements, so it blended in. It was a beautiful page. It all looked really nice, but I couldn't find the button. I was like, what am I supposed to do here? They actually had to, oh, Danielle, it's up in that corner. Oh, okay, sorry. So that's a good point that you want, if you want people to do something on your page, in this case, submit contact information, make sure that that button is visible and it's a different color from everything else and it really stands out. And this is a good example about the text you put on your buttons, and this is a HubSpot study, and we have the link here in the presentation. And you can see that by changing the words on the button, people may be more willing to fill out the form and click it. So you can see that click here and go, very clear. It's obvious what they're supposed to do. Submit, download, and register just have a slightly more negative connotation, right, Gretchen?
Right. And when you go to the page on HubSpot, it's more of a commitment that registering is requiring you to do stuff, so the conversion is going to be less. But if that's what you want them to do, you need to be explicit. It just may drive down your conversion.
And submit is I'm surprised to see that because I see a lot of people use that, but get now, go, click here. So try some other words and see if that helps you. All right, so what makes your offer? Focus. We really want you to focus when you're creating these landing pages. Don't start adding extra elements to the page because you think, oh, maybe they'll want to subscribe to my newsletter. Oh, maybe they should go read my blog. Oh, maybe they should call me. You want to make sure, what is your intention for that page? You want the person to request that offer and fill out your form. That's what you want them to do.
You only want them to do one thing.
Do the one thing. So keep your page simple and focused on what the goal is.
Kiss.
Keep it simple, silly. All right, so pulling it together, here we have two pictures that we like. This is one of our clients.
This is one of my favorites.
Nice bright colors.
Yes.
Yep.
And you see that the cover. Like, first of all, the book is not, that's another thing that we didn't bring up, Danielle. It's like the thickness of the image. Sometimes people make books that look like War and Peace, that they're like 500 pages long. There's no way I'm going to get a book on 7 mistakes to ruin your social disability that looks like it's 500 pages long.
That's just scary. I don't want to read that.
Right. Nobody wants to read that. So this is a good, width. So that's, oh, well, that's an easy read. And then, we've got images that represent, and just the colors blend nicely together. And this Get Free Book Now button really stands out, to your point before.
And they're only asking for the first name and the email address. It's simple. It's to the point. They got a quick testimonial underneath. Testimonial could probably be better, but it's got the elements that we'd like to see on a landing page.
If you're not sending them anything, please don't ask for the address, their phone number, and their social security number and everything else that goes along with it, because they're going to be a lot more likely to download this book if it's just the email and their name that's associated with it. Then they know that they'll probably get some emails about this, but they're not going to get direct mailings and everything else, and they don't want their information out there for the world to find it. So your conversions will go way up if you just focus on getting an email and a name.
Yeah, HubSpot has another study they did on the fields that you display in your forms, and it showed, first of all, the very simple truth that the more fields you have, the less likely people are going to convert on that page. And secondly, the types of fields you have. If you have more open text box where they feel the pressure to come up with something to write, ask me a question or leave comments, now I have to think of something to write, I might back off. Or if you have drop-down boxes, and there's two reasons for this. One is they can be sometimes difficult to use or not work on all devices, depending on how your site's coded. And it's just one more thing for people to fuss with. So again, keep the forms simple.
Okay. And then this is a
much more involved
page, but this is a very successful landing page. This is, once again, Bob Battle's page where we pulled out the middle thing, but this is all of it put together. So let's talk about how we tie it all together, Daniel.
Right. So you can see in the top left, he's got a video that is relevant to this particular offer, and it's nice and small. It's not overwhelming the page. You can watch it if you want to. He's got the book cover, which we already showed, which is clear. You know exactly what you're getting. And then he's got the headline, the subheading. He's got some bullet points. It's a free guide. I've got the trust elements on the left with the media badges about the author. And then on the right, I've got giant arrows pointing. I know exactly what you want me to do. It is very obvious. You want my information and free instant access. Now, what you can't really see down on the lower right, you see charges dismissed there on the lower right. He's got a couple of testimonials about, and they're really great testimonials about working with him and how he was able to help people. So he's got all the elements really giving trust and making you want this offer.
The only change I would make would be the fact that the field forms on the right side are a little tiny for your address and stuff. That minor little thing.
Yeah, and once again, he's sending them a, this is to Zach's point about asking for more information. He's sending a hard copy of the book out, so that's why it's asking for all of this. Now, yes, he could simplify this by just asking for a name and an email and send them a PDF. Like what you can do at DSS is what we call the second chance form, which is where you can just send them a PDF with an email, and then the next thing that comes up after they give that information is, do you want us to send you a hard copy of the book? Just give us your address. And that way, if they want that, sure, then you can send it to them. That way
One more thing. Take a look at underneath the button. It says privacy assured. All information provided is kept strictly confidential. You know, in these days and ages, people can be very nervous about giving you their information, but if you provide some kind of disclaimer, even though maybe there's no teeth behind this, it's just one more little nudge that, oh, it'll be okay. You can give me your information. Yeah. I've been on CNN.
Okay. Now, what is this? This is the most important thing of all. After you've done it all, what are you going to do?
You're going to test. Now, first of all, there's, of course, A/B split testing, but we actually want you to pull up your website, your landing page, on desktops with different screen resolutions to see how the page stretches and changes.
In different browsers.
Yep, test it in all your different browsers. Make sure that the images and the formatting you added actually works in IE. You also want to pull up that page on mobile. You want to get some different mobile phones and see how it looks. You may find that the image you added overwhelms the entire screen. We've seen cases where when you have a form on the right-hand side of your landing page, it suddenly either disappears or it drops down to the very bottom and it's hard to get to. So you want to make sure the form is easily accessible, because that's the money right there. You actually want contact information. And of course, take a look on a couple different types of tablets. And then you actually want to fill out the form on every device. Depending on how your site is coded, the forms may work differently on different devices, and you want to make sure that users on tablets, and smartphones, and iPhones, and Windows phones, and desktops and laptops, the forms all actually work, and that submit button actually does what it's supposed to do.
And then something happens after the fact.
That's right.
That's supposed to happen.
You actually get the book when you fill it out. And we also want to encourage you, this is not a one-time thing. This is a maintenance thing. Make this part of your regular marketing, that you test your forms, we say about monthly, because things can change depending on what code you're using for your forms, whether you're using Infusionsoft or Jotform or something else. Things can change. Your web developer can be sneaky, not us, of course, but your guy. They can change code in the background that can break forms. We see this all the time, where you suddenly wonder, gee, I'm not getting a lot of contacts. It's because your form is broken.
And one of the best ways to promote free books is on Facebook. It's a cheap advertisement source, and more people are going to Facebook on their mobile phones. So if you were getting people to come to your landing page, but they're having a poor user experience on a mobile phone, you're going to lose out on a lot of potential contacts. So keep that in mind. More people are using mobile devices. 30% of all of our website traffic across all of our websites is from mobile devices, and Facebook is even higher than that. So keep that in mind, especially when you're trying to market to specific types of people like motorcyclists. You will see a huge increase in mobile Facebook traffic as opposed to desktop Facebook traffic when you're targeting motorcyclists, because they're on the move and they actually use their mobile phones to go on Facebook and not a desktop.
It's a great point, and nobody does that enough, is look at their stuff on mobile phones and tablets. I mean, and the thing is that, you know, it might not even, nothing might have changed on your website, but those, you know, the OS on those tablets and mobile phones is constantly changing too.
That's a very good point.
And so, you know, and Google's changing, and so you need to be aware of your own junk. You know, don't wait for somebody to come tell you that something's wrong. You know, that's not how it works. There's so many things that you need to be paying attention to these days. So just check your own stuff.
And another thing you can do is keep an eye on analytics. You can see the stats by device. So if people are coming in different browsers, or they're using different types of phones or different operating systems, you may notice that suddenly you have a very high exit rate or very high bounce rate on one of those pages. And that could indicate that there's a problem, that the form doesn't work or it doesn't look right. So if you see any anomalies in your analytics for different devices or different operating systems or browsers, go test it yourself and see if there is a problem, because this does happen, especially with browsers and operating systems on phones changing all the time, and IE.
Yeah, just don't look at the landing page, fill out the form.
Yeah.
Sometimes you realize that that little section that you have to click on to fill it out is way too skinny for your finger to actually get to.
Or the cursor won't, you can't actually get the type pad on your phone to engage in that field. So there's lots of little things that can happen with forms, so you definitely want to test and keep an eye on your analytics.
And we don't have time to go over today, and we're about to move into our questions. Oh, wait, sorry.
The last thing we want you to do is If you want to get a little more sophisticated, find a way to connect your landing pages, the contacts that come in through each landing page, to the revenue you ultimately get from that person. Because what you really want to do is see which of your offers are making you money. It doesn't matter if you have an offer that gets you tons and tons of traffic if it doesn't ultimately result in a lead. So something to think about if you're using a CRM product that allows you to track revenue by a lead source. This is something you can do. And I think this can get you some very surprising results. You may find that you may get a lot of traffic and a lot of contacts, but they're junky contacts. And you are spending a lot of time going through the lame leads that aren't getting you anywhere, whereas you have another page that's maybe more targeted, getting you less contacts and less leads, so you don't think it's as good, but you may realize that's actually getting you good business. So don't focus on traffic and don't just focus on getting names in your database. You want to see what's really making you money. This is the next level to take.
Quality over quantity.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
And keep in mind, these types of contacts are a longer purchase funnel, if you will. So it's going to take people a lot longer to contact you and to develop into a case than it is for someone that's literally contacting you via the contact form, mini contact form, something that's much more instant in the way they contact you. So this is going to be a long uphill battle. It's not like someone's going to download a report and call you in the next hour. They're going to read this information. They're going to determine if it's useful. It might be something that they're researching for the future because they aren't in that position yet, but they might be in a couple months, couple years even. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be an instant thing. You need to make sure that you're tracking long term, not just that day.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Another benefit of having the offer available is because if people are doing research on their problems after business hours, this is a way to actually still engage them even though your office is technically closed, because you're now providing them information that they wouldn't otherwise get at the time that they're looking for it.
Yeah, good point. And the other thing, too, is it might not even be that person that downloaded the book that contacts you for that big case. You know, that's what you're doing is, you know, you're creating, you're building your database of people that you're communicating with, like what we said in the very beginning. And so, yeah, to Zach's point, don't expect, you know, don't quit. If you're like, oh, the first 10 people that fill out the form and download your book, they're not ready to hire a lawyer. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. They could be ready in 3 months, or their cousin could be, you know, the cousin could get in an accident and say, do you know any good lawyers? Well, I got this great book from this guy. You should check him out. It's got great information in it. So you don't really know how that's going to, it's like a very elegant, cool business card that gets out there.
Yeah, we have folks in our own purchase funnel who can take 2, 3, 4 years, and they just say, we've been following you, we read your information, now I'm ready to engage. So you're probably not going to have as long in the lawyer-doctor market, but you never know. You know, these are people that you can continue to market to. You remain in front of their minds. They're going to recommend you to their friends or pass on your materials, so that's why you're doing this.
Yeah, and, you know, for doctors, too, or many of the lawyers. I mean, like, they could be working with another doctor or a lawyer already, and, you know, they're not really happy, so they're going out there to look. So, you know, that's another offer that you could have out there, or put in your offer about if you're already working with somebody, these are some questions that you should ask them, you know, questions that you know. So there's multiple ways to do this very effectively, but just be aware that, like to Zach's point, that it's not like an overnight success.
Also, one last point, you have to promote these offers. It's not enough to just put an offer on your website. You have to do something with it, whether that's Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. If you are going to have it crawled organically, sometimes if you can target the right type of users and queries, you can get people to find it organically. You can also do on-the-foot marketing and have people directed straight to that landing page. It's not enough just to put it up, though. You can do retargeting. If you have a blog that's very specific to the type of content that people are going to find within that book, retargeting is a great way to say, oh, you found my blog very interesting, and once they get to your website, a cookie is placed on their browser, and when they go to other websites, they'll start seeing your offer for a free book on that topic that they were reading about earlier, and they're going to say, oh, that's interesting. I remember reading that guy's blog. I wonder what this book's all about. They click the link, they download the book, and now you have a contact that you didn't have before, but someone that was very interested and engaged in the content that you were writing. So you have to promote. It's not enough to just have it on the website. You'll get some free downloads from people coming to the website organically or through other channels, but you should be promoting these. It's not like going to happen overnight just because you have it on the website.
The bird's not just going to fly in the window.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're trying to get in front of your perfect client, so for example, the Watch for Cyclists, where do cyclists hang out? Bike shops?
clubs.
Yeah.
Bike clubs, bike shops. You can have a pamphlet. You could have a postcard that says download this book. You can drive them back to your website from some kind of offer that you can leave in physical locations. You can advertise in local magazines or the local papers, things like that. And instead of doing what every other lawyer does, which is, hey, have a free consultation, use your book to draw them in, because you're going to get people who may not be ready to buy right now, but they'll know somebody or they'll be ready to buy later. So an offer is much more compelling in some cases and will cast a wider net than, hey, have a free consultation.
And use a marketing domain. So if you have an accident book, buy a domain and redirect that domain that's a little bit easier for people to remember to that book, but also remember that you want to add tracking parameters to that, and you can ask your provider to do that for you. You don't want to go out and have a bunch of people coming to your offer and you have no idea where they're coming from because you don't have it tracked appropriately.
Okay, so now it's time for some questions. Zach, we got some questions over there?
Yes. So the first question, Bethany Jones, do these offers include advertising landing pages?
Well, it depends upon if they were set up in DSS. It depends upon, I assume that she's talking about in our data that we were showing. So that data is based on DSS users and the reports page, all the landing pages. So if that was, Bethany, if that was added in DSS, that was tracked, if it was something that was added outside by a pay-per-click company and you're just sending that, that wouldn't be part of this.
So for pay-per-click specific offer downloads, you want to have your pages speaking to directly what you're bidding on. Mm-hmm. So if you have a search pay-per-click campaign, you probably want to have another page created for that offer. Don't just, in DSS, this is really easy to do. If you have another provider, you just need to tell them that you don't want it displayed on the website and you don't want it indexed, because all you want to do is drive people to that page via those paid advertisements. Paid advertisements will, your cost per click is going to go down if you have a very niche specific page talking to what you're bidding on. It'll actually make the average cost per click for those keywords you're bidding on less because it's more relevant to what you're bidding on. So keep that in mind, but the basic principles and best practices to headlines, content, all those are still the same.
Very good, Zach. What's the next question?
Kim Franklin, with a book giveaway, is it better to give away just an e-book PDF of the book, or better to give away just the hard copy of the book, or is it best to give away the PDF right when they opt in and offer them to provide shipping info for that hard copy as well?
You answered your own question.
Yeah, I definitely, option number 3, do both.
Yeah.
But
Not
one
right off the
idea,
bat.
not right off the bat, right? Let them download the PDF. Don't ask them then immediately for more information. Another idea is to have it as part of your campaign, your follow-up campaign of, hey, a week later, I hope you found this interesting. If you'd like us to send you a hard copy, please, let us know and provide us your contact information, and we will. That way they understand the benefit, but they're not, going out on a first date with you and then all of a sudden you're asking them to marry you. So go for the, let them get to know you a little bit better, and they understand the value then.
And Gretchen said the word back-end campaigns or follow-up campaigns, which is a whole different world that we'll talk about and that we have talked about. And that's really what happens after someone gets your offer. What happens? That's your follow-up campaign.
Steve Richardson has 2 questions.
Of course, Steve Richardson does.
The first one I believe we answered within the PowerPoint, but I'll bring it up again. What is the best language for the download order button? And in that HubSpot article, they talked about click here, I believe is the number 1.
Click here, go. Get free book now.
Don't register. And can you cherry pick the testimonials for the module on the offer landing page? So can you pick a testimonial specifically geared towards that offer?
Yes.
Yes.
You just have to let us know which one you would like to have appear, if it's a specific one. However, if your offer is in a specific practice area, bankruptcy, since it's you, Steve, and you have a testimonial about your bankruptcy services, if by classifying both your offer as bankruptcy and your testimonial as bankruptcy, only the bankruptcy testimonials will show up on that page. If you have a specific testimonial about the book that you'd like to, just let us know and we can hard code that for you.
All right.
Kim Franklin again. Am I able to make opt-in pages within DSS? What is the difference between the report page versus the landing page if you can do it in DSS? And can it be linked to my Infusionsoft so I can gather all the names?
The report page and the landing page are the same thing. We're using them interchangeably. You land on it, and then you can offer a report.
Well, if you're talking,
yeah, we use that for universally.
If you're talking about in DSS where you have the drop-down and there are different types of offers that you can select, and report, offered, landing page, insurance holder, there's all kinds of things in there. Out of the box on your website, they're going to be exactly the same. However, one of the great things you can do is ask us to style one of those items a little bit differently. So, for example, if you have a landing page right now when you create an offer and you have a right side column, you have a certain header, you have a certain footer, you can ask us to do something differently. What we've done on our own site is, I think it's insurance holder, we have styled differently where it's just a completely clean page and there's nothing on it, so that allows us to put any text or image we want, and we don't necessarily have to have a form, but you can ask us to work with you and say, hey, I'd like the header to look a little bit different for this type of offer, and we can code that for you so every time you use that drop-down in DSS, it will always have that same formatting. So that's something I don't think enough clients know that we can do, is we can customize the different offer types for you so you can create different neat kinds of landing pages.
And Kim has one more question. Thanks for all the questions, Kim. I know you're working on the wage and hour and the Defense Base Act book, so you're asking all the right questions.
Good job.
What is the best way to track long-term if these offers are being used by people that opt in on those landing pages, especially if it's so long-term? So with you using Infusionsoft, just adding a tag automatically to those who download that report, and then you can follow them in your customer management tool, whatever you use, whether it's Infusionsoft or DSS or some other tool.
Yeah, Infusion has a lead source field as well, so you can use that if you just want to keep the lead source for the very first way they contacted you. Otherwise, the tags are dated, and you can see when they came in and how.
And then one last question, Jim Hasser. Can you give more examples of successful landing page titles for car wreck and comp cases?
We'll put some together in the, we'll send some to you.
And that's all the questions.
You got anything, Gretchen?
I don't. No. Perfect timing.
Okay, so if you need help with this, we're here to help you, okay? So just so everybody knows, if you didn't know, you've been living in a hole for a long time, we have writers, editors, people on staff that can write these books, these offers, landing pages, follow-up campaigns, do whatever. We can help you. So give us a call or send us an email if you're looking for a proposal for that.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that even if you're writing your own copy and you need to get somebody else to edit it for you, here at Foster we don't let anyone edit their own work, no matter how smart we think we are. We always send it to one of the editors to look over it for us, and you can do the same thing. We actually have editors available, so if you just want a one-time, let's say you've written a 30-page book, you really need to get that edited. Even if you just want us to look at your landing page, we price hourly, and we can do that for you. And all of these writing services, we can do this for you whether you're a client or whether you're not a client. So we'll do this for anyone. If you need editing, if you need books, landing pages, we're here for you.
Just let us know. And then, of course, October 24th and 25th is our big GLM summit that we do with Great Legal Marketing, Ben Glass, Great Legal Marketing. So if you want to learn, I mean, really, we learned all this from Ben Glass. And, you know, Ben Glass is the king of the offer, and there's so much more detail to learn from the summits. So I encourage and invite everyone to go to glmconference.com and register there. And I think that's it, right? So do we know what our next webinar is going to be about, Danielle?
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise, guys. All right.
It's a secret.
Yay. Hey. Okay, so what's the next step? We're going to send a follow-up email with
Right. We'll send out a copy of the recording of this webinar along with the PowerPoint presentation, because we did have some links embedded in here, and you may want to look at the examples again. And we'll have a landing page on our website where you can watch this or download the PDF. So that will be coming out to you either this afternoon or tomorrow.
Very good.
That's that.
All right. Well, Danielle, thank you very much for throwing this webinar together.
You know me.
Great job. Gretchen, thank you very much. Zach, thank you. Connie, thank you for recording it. And Hannah, thank you for tweeting about it. All right, everybody, thank you all for attending. our webinar. Please let us know if there's things that you want us to talk about that you need answers to. That's what we're here for. That's what this is for, is to help educate you guys on what it takes to be a successful marketer. I'm Tom Foster at Foster Web Marketing. Have a great day. Thank you.